is about the Git server and how to collaborate yourself with the various users when you are working with the Git. So before I start, just trying to understand, do we have any questions from online members who can or who want to say something on that? Otherwise, we can start our session and we can go along with that. Okay, so if no questions, let's get started with then. So let's say on the screen, I'm drawing a diagram. And in the diagram, we are assuming that user 01 is using a laptop and he's working with that. Similarly, we have a user 02 who is also going to be the part of the project in future contribution. So we'll take two users and then we'll start working with those users. Now here we have the server. Okay, so with the server means that it is a centralized piece that you want to go along and work with that. Okay, now we already know that with the Git, we have three distinct area, which we say as a Git working directory or project directory, then Git staging and Git local repository. Now we are going to introduce one more repository, which is they called as a remote repository. Okay, so this is called as a remote repository. Now what is this remote? This is the exact copy of the server. This location or this particular thing is the exact copy of the server. Okay. Now let's go one by one and see what we are going to do. So now user one wants to communicate with the server and he wants to save his files. Already the files are in the local repository. So he will go and he will say, okay, I want to communicate back and I want to put those files on the server. Okay, so that user he will go and he will say that, okay, I want to go along and I want to put the files on the server. Okay, now this process is called as a push. This process is called as a push, or we say git push. So what is meant by push? Push means putting the files from my local machine to the server. Simple. Okay, then there is a automatic synchronization of data will happen when you say git push. So what is happening? Data will come back automatically from here to here. So let me redraw the certain things. Don't. Okay, so let me delete that all these components. Uh, Let me redraw. Okay, so basically we are going from the area which is we want to continue with that. So here is the arrow and here we go. Okay, so basically from which area we are pushing? From the local repo. Now what is happening from local repo? We are doing a push and it is going to the server. But once we push the server, automatically a file will get copied to the remote area. So this is how the push works. The first the file will go to the server and then it will copy down to the remote area. Okay, it will not directly go to the remote and then to the server. No, it will go to the remote to the server first and then it will download and get synchronized with the server. Okay, now we have uploaded the file, but sometimes we want to download the files from the server. So how we can download? So there are two methods. Okay, so one is called as the indirect method and one is called as a direct method. So indirect method will go with the two steps method. So let's go and draw that. So indirect method, when you'll go, you'll download first in the remote and then from remote to the local repository. Then from remote to the local repository. It's a two-step process. So that process is called as a fetch and merge. Fetch. And what is the second process? Is the merge process. So let me write something here. So Let me make it a better way, so that way it will help. Okay, go and draw. So this is called as a fetch, and this is called as a merge process. This is called as a push. So now it will be clearly able to see that. So this is clear. What is the fetch and merge? So this is the indirect method. We will go along with that. Okay, now this is the first method, which is the indirect method. Second method is to directly download. That is a pull method, which is called as a pull method. So we'll go with that. So here we go. Here I'll put. I don't know how big it is. Okay, no problem. So first it will go here, and then it will go here. So that big line is called as a pull method. Okay. So I'll say, hey, this is the pull method. This method is a pull method. So just to differentiate the lines, I have put that. But pull method is a direct method. So, but it will also go in the background. It will go with the two steps. First is the pull, means what? Again, it will do the fetch and merge itself. But the command is one. The command is one. It will do the same thing, but with the command is different. So let's write down something that way it will help. So push means upload, then fetch and merge, download, okay, indirect, and pull, download, direct. So it is like making more stuff. So make it the diagram clear. We will write it later on in the text file. So is the process is clear? So what is the push? Push to send the files to the server. What is the pull? It's the direct method. Okay, and what is the second method? Fetch and merge, which is the indirect method. Okay, and now you want to have a synchronization between the user 02 and the server. Let's say user 02 newly joined the organization. Let's say you join an organization which already have the Git project, and you want to contribute in that project. So how you will do that? You will do a clone. What you will do? You will do a clone. So let's go and see that. So I'll put that. This is called as a clone. This is called as a clone method. So for the pull, I will write it down, so it will help. Use the pull method. Okay, and this method is called as clone. What that method is called as clone. So this is clear. What is the clone method? So first time, if you are doing, you will go with this method. But when you want to join organization and you want to start contributing in the already existing project, you will say clone. Clone means take an exact copy and put that copy in my machine. That's all is a clone. Okay. So any question, any doubt in this particular area? Permissions means what? Permissions. It will exactly the same. Permission on the server level, it may be different, not on the machine level. Okay, so now we talked about the structure. We know what is a push. We understood what is the download method. Two download methods. One is the indirect, one is the direct. Fetch and merge, pull. When we want to contribute new things, we'll say clone. Okay, good. Now let's talk about server. Okay. Now in real time, the server can be on your on-premise, that means in your office. It can be on data center, or it can be in the cloud. It can be anywhere, or it can be on the internet. So that server can be anywhere in the world. The server can be anywhere in the world. It can be in your office. It can be in some data center. It can be somewhere in the cloud, or it can be on the internet anywhere. Okay. Now, there are a couple of servers available. Like, let's take an example. What is a Gmail? What is a Gmail? It's a mail service. It's not a storage area. It's a mail service, right? And it is a paid or free of cost. For general user, it is a free of cost. But for organization, it is a paid service. Okay, organization cannot use that service as a free of cost. Some may be doing illegal way, but that is not a correct way. Organization has to buy the account and work with that. Some questions there. We can do this whole process on GitHub Web without knowing any command. But why do we need to know the Linux command related to the Git? Because we are using Linux. Yes, Hinduja. So I'll address your question. Let me finish this. Then definitely we will go with that. Okay. So the server now is anywhere in the world, or it can be on the premises. So as we talked about the Gmail service, which is a free cost service. Similarly, there are services who gives the Git server service. That means you can store your files on the internet free of cost. You can store the files on the internet free of cost. So what are those services? So you may have GitHub. You may have a service called as a Bitbucket, and so on. So which type of service you have? You may have GitHub, or you may have Bitbucket as your servers. These services are free of cost. Now, when we say free of cost, there is some limitations. Now, what is that limitation? So disk space is not a limitation, but whatever the files you store on those servers, it is open to all public. That means it's a public repository. What is that? It is a public repository. That means whatever the files you're storing on those servers, which is visible to every member on the internet. So those are not hidden projects. Those are open source projects. Now, that is good when you are going with the open source project. That is good when you are going with the open source project. But if you have your own private data, private source code, private, you don't want to share to anybody, or only with the limited your team members or your organization, then what you can do? You can go with the paid service. So there are different paid service available on that. So let me share my screen and show you how we can go with the paid service there. Okay. So here we go, and I'll say github.com. So I can go to the, now like you go with the Gmail, right? Similarly, you can go to the github.com. Okay, so https://github.com. Okay, so you can go along with that, and you'll able to see this. Now you can give your name, you can your email address, password, and create your account. Simple, right? You can easily go and create your account. Now once you go there, you can easily go. Now here is the pricing model. So if you want to go for your private data, so for developer, $7 a month. For team, it is like a $9 a month. Business, $21 star or whatever stuff, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so it will give a lot of features and a lot of stuff while working with that. So this is the paid service you can available, but you can go with the free service as we talked about. So this is the free service you can go. Now what you can do, let's say I will go with that. Let's say I have created a dummy account, and you can go along with the different projects like Docker project, Vagrant project, Chef project, Maven project, Git project, Advanced Linux, Basics Linux, Shell scripting, Jenkins scripting, and so on. So you can create lots and lots of projects, and you can go along with that. Now, how you can collaborate with this, how you can upload the files. So every project will go with the URL. Every project has its own URL. So let's go and see that. Here is nothing. Let's go with that. Okay. Now you see the mark here. What it says? Clone or download. That means you can clone or download. Yes. So you have to go with this URL. If you want to go with the public repo, so I will click on that. You see that there is a URL. So I'll go here. I'll click say copy the URL. So now my URL is copy. Now I can clone this project in my local machine. Now this is on the internet, but I can clone this on my local machine. So now to clone or to communicate with the remote machine, we need to do some specific actions. What actions? We have to configure this remote area. Which area we have to configure? A remote area. So it will communicate with the server directly. It will communicate with the server directly. So this is clear. So what we have to do, we have to configure that remote area. Okay. Now we are talking about this as a public server and public things. But many organizations which are like mid-scale organizations, startup organizations, they don't want to go with the paid service. They say, no, we don't want paid service. $7 a month is high cost for us. 350 rupees or 500 rupees or something is a not good fit for our budget. So what we want to do? We want to create our own private servers. We want to have limit our users to this private servers only. So they will go and they will set up a private server. Now we will learn how to set up that private server. Okay. So we will go and set up this instead of GitHub. We will work with our private server and then we can start working with that. So any question at this moment on this diagram as well as this anything that you want to bring it up? Okay, now let's address the question which came from the internet. So the question says that we can do this whole process on GitHub website, okay, without knowing any command. But why do we need to know the Linux command related with the Git? Now the answer is very simple. You should know first the command line basics because that is the way of doing a troubleshooting. If something is missing, if something is not working, command line is a good option that you can go and test from there. What is not working? Is my configuration is not correct? If any port number is missing, username is not correct, all those things troubleshooting you can do easily from the command line there. Okay. Now the whole process we are using says as a GitHub website. So I'm not sure, Sindhuja, that how you are going to use that website. Directly you are going to use the website without any programmer help, or you want to integrate that with some other tool, right? If you want to integrate with some other tool, you have to go with the manual way. You have to get configure it, and then only you can make the UI or something. To understand what to do in the UI, you should know all these basics. You should know all these basics that what exactly happened behind the scene, and it is very easy to troubleshoot and work with that. Okay, so let's go and see that. So hopefully that answered your question. I'm not sure it has answered your question, but hope that answered your question. And if not, please put any other questions. We will happy to address that. Okay, thank you. Okay, so let's go and have the installation of our server. So we'll go with that, and we will go along with the now all the things we will work with the server. Let's go and see that. Let me do that. Okay. So here we go. Now we'll start working with the server there. We'll start working with the server. I'm not sure why it is showing like that. Okay, that. Okay, so let's get started. So I'll say VI and readme. Where is our Git? Yes, so DevOps batch 14. We have that readme. I don't think so. We have. Okay, so we'll go with that. So we have 14 batch, right? We're going to 14 batch. Okay, let's go and create the file. So we read git.txt. Okay, so we have that. So we talked about git config, merge conflict, and so on, right? Okay, so let's go further. How to set up Git server. Now we are going with the process of setting up the Git server. Now we are going to use Git bucket software. We need to download it from the internet and install it. So first is the step is the download. So dependency first, install Java in the system. Now this package is basically depends on Java. So Git bucket is has on Java. We need to install it first. So first we need to get the Java and then we'll go. So what is the command to get the Java? It's a yum-y install Java 1.8.0 -open So we'll go and install that. Then we will download git bucket.war file and put it in the tools directory. So I'll say mkdir tools, cd tools, and then we'll say download wget and the URL to download the git bucket.war. Then we will make an entry in the etc host. So update your /etc host file. So you'll say open /etc host file and do not disturb any other lines. And we'll add one more like 192.168.0.9 our IP address, and I will say server name. Whatever is our server name, we'll put that. So what the host name we have put there? I don't know. So let's go with that host name. Okay, so we say batch 14 company. So I'll put that name here. Okay. With that. Then we will stop the firewall. Linux. So we'll do that. So procedure is sudo vi/etc se linux config and do not disturb other lines, but we will make sure that we will have the process se linux permissive and save and exit. Then we'll give another command sudo we will say set enforce 0. Later on we will go to the firewall. So this is the part A. See Linux. Part B is firewall. So we'll say sudo systemctl stop firewall d dot service. You say sudo systemctl disable firewall d service. Do that. So we are assuming that we are working on CentOS 7. That's why we are giving these commands. Okay. Now, last thing, you will start the Git bucket web service. We'll say Java -jar Git bucket .var. So this will start service on port 8080. But if you want to change the port number, if you want to change to any other port, use the command java -jar git bucket .var -port is equal to 9090. And what is the port? It is a number associated with some service. So it is like a door or window, or door we can say. So that way it will help us to get the respective port number. Now, how to confirm the service is working? You will say port number. You will see something like that started on port 0.0.0.0:8080, and or it will say something started, and it will give something 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 milliseconds or something. Okay. Once it gives that message on the screen, you can say confirmly that the service is started. And my personal request is that please do not work with the root account. Always create a dev account and start working that account. Never use a root account thing. Is clear? Always have login with the normal user. Don't use everything root, then there is a problem. If you do some mistake or accident, it will wipe out all your data, right? So don't do that. Use always normal user to work with that. This is clear? And how to access the service now? How to access and confirm the service is running. Simple. You'll go to the web browser, open Firefox or something, open Chrome, Firefox, and command http:// the server IP and the port number. What do you say? Server IP and the port number. In our case, our IP is 9, so I will say http://192.168.0.80. Now we are going with the standalone version of the solution, but in real time they will not go standalone. They will go with the Tomcat. We will also see that how to install in the real time process on top of Tomcat when we are touching the Tomcat topic.
Okay. So we understood what we are doing. Okay, so now let's go and do the installation. So first what we need to do, save that. What is the first step? Installation of Java. So just let's check Java is there or not. Java hyphen version. So it says we don't have Java. How to check the Java is available or not? Java hyphen version. So it says command not found. Let's go and install Java. Yum hyphen y install Java 1.80 hyphen open JDK. Okay, here we go. And it should go to the internet. Automatically it will download the necessary items and it should be able to go along with that. So whatever the steps we have written, exactly we will follow the steps and we will get the, we work with the, now once you started the server, open another window to work with the Git. Don't use the same window because you cannot use the same window. So you have to use the another window to go with that. So it is going with the EPL repo, downloading the necessary things. Yes, so when you have to type the command git status, these, git that, right? You have to open another session. Because same session will not work, it will stop there. When it's started, it will be there. It's an interactive session. So we will see that. So now it is checking the dependencies and trying to download the necessary files. Here it says internet connection is unstable. So it is going with that. So it will download the files, all the dependencies files it will download one by one, step by step. So we will not go with the parallel process. We will wait for this to complete and we'll go with that. So till point of time, any questions, any other things that you want to bring it up? So you can utilize this time in a better way. Okay. So now the first step is to get the Java. What is the next step? Download the Git bucket. Okay, so we'll see that. Let it download in the background. We will see the process of stuff. Okay, so here we go. And I'll say download Git bucket. I'll check that. Then I'll go to this release Git bucket. So please use this URL. Hold on. Yeah, so please that use that URL to download the Git bucket. So what is that? github.com/gitbucket/release. So what is the, it is a github.com/gitbucket/release. So currently we have which version? We have 4.160 version. So somebody asks you, hey, what version of the Git you are using? So what do you say? 4.160. What Java version you are using? 1.80, right? So you should know those versions because in interview definitely they will ask the question, hey, what Java you are using, what Git bucket you are using, and what Git version we are using. 1.8, sure. लॉक किया जाए. Okay, let's see that. Okay, now what we'll do, we will go and download this file. Which file we want to download? Gitbucket.war, which is a web application, web archive. It is called as a web archive, it is called as a web application. So we'll right click and we'll say copy, we'll say copy the link. I'll say right click and the copy. I'll say right click. So we'll copy the link. And then we'll go and download the link onto our terminal. So on the server that we can download. If I click download here, what will happen? It will download in my Windows machine. We don't want that. So we'll wait to complete our installation of Java and then we'll go with that. Okay, now let's go. So how much time it is there? It is saying 1 minute. Okay, fine. So we'll go with that. So today is internet good. Okay, now I'm not sure that we can go with this. Let me check. 192.168.0. Yes, we have. Slash. And that was dot 50. Okay, now all the softwares for our GitHub DevOps we have stored here in this folder, DevOps software. I'm not sure they are available right now because we are on the different network, but we can make that available. So write down this URL. This URL is important. Whatever the downloaded needed for, whatever the application needed for DevOps our course is downloaded here at this URL. So nearly 60, 17 GB or something is there. So if you want to take a pen drive, you can sit anywhere in the lab and you can copy that, no problem. But members who are online, they can easily download from the internet because it's easy, it's a free of cost. So you don't have to worry much about that. So it is just we have pre-downloaded, but the old versions may be a little bit older, but they are available there. Okay, so we will go along with that. Okay, so I'll close that because currently is not available. I'll minimize this. Looks like our installation is in progress now. Download complete, installation is happening, and we have the certain stuff there. Good. So we have the necessary thing. Cleanup is happening. Verifying everything is correct or not. Yes. So we have completed the Java installation. Let me check Java-version. And which version we are using? 1.8.0. Okay. Now what we have to download? Gitbucket. So what is the next step? mkdir tools, cv tools, and then I say wget and the URL. So I have copied the URL, right? And then I'll download that. So it is going to the internet and it is downloading the URL. So approximately size is 51 MB. You can see here 51 MB. So that application is of 51 MB. Okay. So this is how it will go and get the package. 7 minutes is horrible time. I don't know that we can wait. Let me see if we can bring back the server online. Give me a second. I'll be back in a minute. Okay, one question is there. Even Jenkins is also use the same port 80. My question is in real time, do we have Git and Jenkins on different server or we follow using the different port numbers when it is installed the same? Okay. So The answer is yes and no. That means your Git server and your Jenkins servers may be on the same machine with the same port, because they will be sitting on top of your Tomcat, or you can have a different or separate machine. Now, when the decision is taken for the separate machine, so if you have only 5 or 10 users, you don't have to create so many servers. In one server, you have all the services. But if you have 100, 200 servers, I mean users, then definitely you should go for separate servers, because you want to balance the load, you want to balance the performance of your system. So understand the theory behind that, why we need a separate server. To handle that kind of load, to handle that kind of traffic, we need a separate servers. But if your organization is small, like say up to 50 users, you can go with a single user, no problem. You can use different ports, or if you want, you can also go for the same port under Tomcat, right? So there are various ways of installation. So we are going to see those, all of them. You don't have to worry about that. That currently we are going with the port number 8080. But if you want to change the port number, you can easily change, right? Hyphen port, and the port number is 9090. If you try to start a service with the two services with the same port, what will happen? It is sorry, I cannot start that, because already somebody is already using that port number. Somebody is already using that port number. So it is not possible to start two services on same port. Okay. So it will do a conflict. It will give an error message saying that address already in use. So you need to make sure that. Okay. Hopefully you got it. Yeah. Thank you for that questions. Any other questions we have? Right. So this is a good question. So basically it depends on how many users your organization has, how many things are happening. Now, what is your role as a DevOps in the Git? Number one, to install the server, to create the repositories, to create the users, to do the merging, to create the branches, to help developer to get the connectivity between his machine to the server. And if he's complaining saying that, hey, your server is not working, you need to verify that really my server is not working. If it is not working, you have to take the necessary action. If it is working, then communicate back saying that no, the server is working. Check your laptop or desktop, fix the problem there. So you need to be able to understand where is the problem, and you need to fix that. Okay. So this is how you will work in the real time. Now, another responsibility you have, the taking backups. So there are a lot of plugins available to take the backups, and you can install those plugins and take the backup of your Git server. Now, it depends on your organization policy that you want hourly backup, or you want daily backup, you want monthly backup. How the policies, depend on the policies, you will take the backups, right? But you should understand what you are doing, then only you will be able to go with that. Now, taking backup is very easy. On the command line, what you will do? You will go and say, hey, git clone. What is the clone? Clone means create the exact copy of the particular repository. Okay. So that way you can create the clones and you can work with that. Okay. Any other questions we have? Now, in real time, how you'll use the Git server? First, you'll install the Tomcat, and on top of the Tomcat, you will have the Git server or your Jenkins server. So you can also go with the standalone method, that what we are doing. But this method is not a scalable method. It is just for you to understand what is the server, how to work with the server. But in real time, the server can be anywhere in the world. It can be on premise. It can be on the cloud. It can be on the data center. It can be on internet. Anywhere it can be. You need to collaborate and you need to work with the server. And that is what we are trying to learn. So how to work with the Git push, how to work with the method fetch and merge, how to work with the cloning method, and so on. You can do the same thing with the GitHub also, but also we are giving a practice that how to set up a Git server. If somebody says, hey, in my organization, I want a private Git server, then it is a good way of going with that. So you can easily go and install the Git server using Git bucket. Okay. Okay. Any other questions we have? So online, okay, no questions at the moment. Any questions from the classroom? Yes, you will not able to access that site because that is only internal site. So that's why I said you don't have to worry. Whatever the process we are following on the screen, you have to follow the same process at the home. That repository is not available for you, the members who are online, but it is not having any configuration. It will only have the downloaded software. So you don't have to worry about that. You can download easily all of them from the internet because you will face the same speed. You'll have the same speed. So the server is also on internet. This is also on the internet, right? So they may not able to, or you may not able to access it. But at this moment, I am also not able to access it. It's okay. That's fine. Okay. GitHub download link is not working. Can you please copy that in chat window? Yes, sure. We will do that. So what is that? You can say here is the GitHub. I will put the in the chat window. So we are downloading that. Okay. So I'll copy in the chat window, no problem. Here is the link, and here is the chat window. Let me put in the chat window. Okay, any other questions? Here we go. So you have to give that link and you will be able to go with that. Okay, fine. So let's go ahead further. Now what we need to do, what is the next step? What is the next step? Yes, update the ETC. What is the my IP address? 192.168.0.9. So what is my IP address? 192.168.0.9. And what is my host name? That's something bash 14 my company, right? So let's open that file, hosts, and I'll open that file. Okay, then do not disturb these first two lines, okay? Do not disturb that two lines. So I'll say 192.168.0.9 and my machine name here. Or if you want to give a short name to your machine, you can say DevOps batch 14. No problem. You can also give short name and full name. You can give that. Okay. There should be a space in between IP address, first name, and second name. So you should be separated by the space or tab. You can use anything. Okay. So we'll save that. Okay. Now what is the next? What is the next step? Sorry? Stop the firewall, yes. So I'll say first SE Linux. So I'll say sudo vi/etc SE Linux dot config, right? Now, what is the current situation? It is in the which mode? Permissive mode. That is what we are expecting, right? So we are good with that. No problem. So already it is in permissive mode. Now I'll say sudo set enforce 0. Go with that. Firewall. Sudo systemctl stop firewall service. It says not loaded, no problem. Sudo systemctl disable firewall b.service. Now it is disabled. Okay, good. Now what we need to do? Start the service. Ready, steady, go. So let me break that into two screens. So that way in one window we'll start and in one window we will work with the Git there. Okay. Okay, so or we can do one thing. I want to show you on the big screen. So let me exit out. Let me exit out. Let me make it big screen. Let me make this as a big screen. And close that. Go with that. Okay, so let's see the tools. So we are in the tools. We got downloaded the gitbucket.war. Okay, now what we want to do? We want to start the service. So I'll say java-jar git bucket. That's all. How to start a service? Java-jar. We have already written that, right? Ready, steady, go. 1, 2, and 3. It says, okay, initializing and jetty and doing something and blah and blah and blah. Okay, now can you see the last two lines? What it says? What is the last line you are saying? 8080, right? And what is the last line saying? Started. That means my service is started. Now there is no progress further. It will stop here. So now don't wait for waiting. I'm starting. You know, it's already started now. It has said 8080 and started. Now what I need to do? I need to go to the browser and check it. Let's go to the browser. What is the IP address? 192. I'll say http://192.168.0.9. And what is the port number? 880. By default, it will start on port number. Ready, steady, go. Here we go. Let's see that it is working. Yes, no, yes. So first time it will take a little bit time. Yes, we got the server. Now this is your Git server login page. Okay. Now what you need to log in. Now by default, okay, it's already started. So I'll open another window. So I'll say duplicate session, login as a DevOps user. So now, okay, where is my document? Here is my document. Okay, now how to log in? What is the username you'll give? By default, you'll give username as a root and password as root. So write down this. By default, you'll give the username as a root and password as root. Note, warning. This username and password is known to everyone in the world because this is the default username and password. So what you need to do? Change it immediately. Change it immediately to a strong password. Change it immediately. Okay. Now, specifically, who are the people who are working in the cloud? If they set up this machine on the cloud, then that is the first action you will take because everybody knows what is the username and password for Gitbucket. They can hack your server, they can crack, and they can do a lot of things, right? So don't allow them to do that. Okay, so let's go further. Now I will go and log into the interface. What is the username? What is the password? Good. So now I am in the repository. Now when you say go to the Google, how you change your password? You have to go to the settings or your profile, right? So here we'll go, and here is my profile. I'll go to my profile. I'll say edit my profile, and here is the password. So I'll give the strong password. Rest of the things I will not do anything, and we will go and we'll say save that. So I have saved the password. Okay, now interesting thing. We have to do the collaboration. We have to do the collaboration. So we have to go with the user 1, user 2, and so on, right? So let's go and create those users here. Let's go and create those users. Ready, steady, go. Okay, so we are working in our terminal. Which user we are working? So yeah, so we are working with a DevOps user, right? Yes, this is the DevOps user. So we will first create a DevOps user. Okay, so I'll go to the, again, the profile section. I'll say system administration. And I'll say there is only one user. Which user? I'll create new user. I'll say create new user. Username is DevOps. Password is something. Full name is DevOps admin. And now here you can define the user email DevOps mycompany.com. Now here you will say that the user as an administrator. So I'll say administrator. So that's what the question came, right? Can I restrict the user in some way? Yes. You can restrict in this way, saying that is a normal user or admin user. Further refinement is there. We will see that soon. Okay. So you can go and you can say, hey, create the user. Good. Now you have two administrators, administrator DevOps and administrator as a. So what I will do, I'll log out from this user now and sign out from root user. And I will log in with which user? DevOps user, because that is a project user. So never work with the root account. Okay. So always go with the normal account. Yes. So I am logged in now. You can see here D DevOps. It is the profile and other stuff. Okay. Now what we'll do, we'll create a project. We'll create a project. Here, what the name we have given to the project? So we have the project name DevOps batch 14, right? So same name we will give that. So I'll click here. I'll say new repository. What I'm going to say? I'll say click on that. Very good. I'll say go with that DevOps batch 14. This is for batch 14. Okay, now this you can control. You want to create a public or private repository? I want to create a private repository. I don't want to share any data to anybody. Okay, no problem. So we'll go with the private repository. Now, there are two ways that you can initialize the repository. That means you can create a repository. You can create a blank repository or you can initialize the repository. We will go with the blank repository. Why? Because we have already have so many files in our DevOps project. So which file? We have the whole website and stuff available there. You see that a lot of files are there, right? I want to get all these files to the server. So I will not initialize. I will create an empty repository on the server at the first time. But if you are creating brand new, you can directly say initialize. It will put the README file in that. Ready, steady, go. Can we create? So it has created the repository. So now it has given me the instruction. Hey, there is no file. Please do a quick setup. Now we will do a quick setup of the repository. So how to do that? So we'll go back. We'll say vi readme. And here we go. So what we first action we did, change the root user password. Then what next action we did? Create DevOps user and then log out. So we have created the DevOps user, then log out. Then 9, log in as DevOps user. Then created an empty repository. Do not select to create read me file. So what is the next step? We have created the empty repository without any readme or something. Okay, so this clear? Right, so we have set up the repository. Now we want to access the repository from our laptop or desktops. So how to do that? Okay, now set up your laptop, desktop to talk with this repository. So how will you do that? You'll use the command git remote. So we'll set up now the remote. Where is my remote? You will tell. Where is my remote? Means where is my server? You will tell to your client. Okay, so what you will do? You will say git remote add, and you will say alias shortcut and the URL of the server. This is the project URL, okay? This is your project URL, not the server URL. It's a project URL. Now, why we are creating that alias or shortcut? So why we are creating that alias or shortcut? Because every time it is very difficult to type the whole URL again and again, right? Okay, so let's go with that. So let's go to the server first and get the URL. On the server, it says that you have this URL, http colon blah, 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 blah. So you'll go and paste that. So I'll say git remote, add alias origin. I'll give some name. You can give any name there, okay? But by convention, that name is origin. By default, the name is origin, but you can give any name. You can give any name and the URL. I'll give the URL here. Okay, and I'll add my username. What is the username? DevOps. So server username is DevOps, and my username is DevOps. So this is how I will go with that. Git remote add origin, that is a shortcut, and the URL. Now, why we are creating shortcut? Very simple reason, because this URL is very long, and for every time it is very difficult to type this URL. That's why we are creating a shortcut for that. That is what we are creating an alias for that. Saying that origin means this URL. That's what we are saying. What do you mean by origin? Origin means this URL. Okay. Now, how to see that? We will go one by one. So this is clear? Any question, any doubt at this moment? So we are going very step by step, very super slow method, saying that what is going to happen there, right? So let's go and create that. Now you don't write that URL because it may be different for you. So you need to copy from the server and put that. Just put the URL, that is more necessary. But make sure to add the username. Whatever username you are going to create, make sure that you'll add. Okay, let's go and do that. So make sure you are in the project directory. I'm not in the project directory. I'll say DevOps 14. How to know that I am in the project directory or not? What the command? PWD. But PWD can be in any directory, right? But how you know that that is my project directory? Or that is a Git directory? Yes. So you should have the .git file there. You should have .git file, right? So this is the way you know that this is my project. Clear? Okay, now we'll go with the git remote. I'll say git remote. What you are able to see? Nothing, because there is nothing configured. We have not pointed to any server. If I say git remote, add, and then origin and the URL, we'll go with that. Ready, steady, go. Let me clear the screen so it will help you. I'll put that. What is that? Git remote, add, and the URL. Okay, 1, 2, and 3. We already written the URL. Now, if you say git remote, it will show me how many shortcuts I have. You see how many shortcuts I have? I can create another shortcut. Let's go to the GitHub. Now, let's say we have the project on GitHub. So we'll go to the GitHub. Here is my GitHub. Here is my project. And here is the URL. So I'll copy this URL. I'll copy this URL. Okay, I'll go up. You can say copy this. I'll click this button, copy to clipboard. Click on that. Now I'll create on this. I'll say git remote add. Now I'll give any name. I'll not again give the origin because it's already there. So I'll say GitHub. I can give any shortcut. Here we go. Now I'll say git remote. How many shortcuts we have? How many shortcuts we have? 2. One is GitHub and another is origin. This clear? Okay, now if I say git remote -v, what do you see there? You see the complete URL, and there are 2 options, fetch and push. So these are the URLs which is automatically used for the fetch and push. This clear? Now I don't want that GitHub. I don't want that GitHub shortcut. What I can say? I can say git remote, remove that, and which shortcut? GitHub. So it will remove that. Now if you say git remote, only 1. If I say just git remote, only 1. So you can add as many as shortcuts you want. You can remove if you don't want. That is what is the simple fundamental we are trying. So you can add as many as go to this server, go to this server, go to this server, go to this server, or download from this server, download. You can do whatever you want. Clear? But in most of the cases, you will only go with the one URL. That is this origin. By default, we call it as origin. Clear? By naming convention, you call it as origin. Okay. Let's go and clear. So you know how to add the shortcuts. You know how to remove the shortcut. Now it's a time to upload the data. Okay. So let's write the command to upload the data. That way it will help. Okay, how to upload the data? How to upload the data? What you'll say? You'll say git push and remote shortcut and the branch name, local branch. Which branch you want to send to the server, because there may be 100 branches. You don't want to send all of them. You want to select and send a so add the flag -u. Okay. So git push -u remote shortcut name and the local branch name. So example, let's say you want to send our master branch to the server. So I'll say git push -u origin master. Where we want to push? To the server. Which branch you want to push? Simple. Right? Very simple. So shall we push now? Ready, steady, go. Okay. So git push -u origin. Now I'll say git push -u origin. Ready, steady, go. 1, 2, and 3. So now it is trying to connect to the server. It says, hey, give the password. Now which user password you have set? DevOps. So you see the password. Ready, steady, go. 1, 2, and 3. Now it is pushing the data to the server. So what it did, it collected all the objects. It will compress them and it will send to the server. Now let's go to the server and check that. I'll go to our Git server. I will say, go to the files. Shall I click on the files? Click on the files. Now you see that we have the resume.txt and the website. Under the website, you have all the files which are available there. So everything is available to the server. Whatever things are on that branch is available to the. Is clear? So this is what is the git push. What is the git push? Any question, any doubt in the push? So we have to just create a shortcut which is pointing to the server, saying that this is my shortcut for that server, and then I will push to that shortcut. So whatever the files which are in my laptop, now they are uploaded to the server with all version controls, with all version controls. Okay. Pardon? Okay. Let's go open that. Yes, please. Is the writing the command? Please write it. Okay. Now, how to download from the server? Well, 13. How to download from the server? So, which command you will use? Git, either pull, but we will first see the indirect method, fetch and merge. So I'll say fetch. And then I will say git merge, git merge. Now you already know what you need for the merging. Make sure you are on the right target branch and then do the merge. So in this case, what is my source? Let's say you want to merge the target as a master branch of local repository. You have a target branch of local repository. Git merge origin master. So what you are doing, you are taking the remote branch and you are merging in the local branch. You are taking the remote branch. Which branch you are taking? Master, remote master branch, and merging in the current master branch. Okay, let's do that. Ready, steady, go. Okay, done writing. Shall we go? Okay. Now, what is the difference between server and local? We have just pushed it, data. So, is there any difference? No. So, if I say git fetch, where it will fetch from? From where to where? From server to the remote location, right? We'll go with that. So, what it says, okay, go with the password, and nothing is there because everything is matching. Nothing is there. Now, we will create one file on the server. Let's go and create a file. So, I'll say create one file, file to fetch, something like that, file to fetch. Created file to fetch and merge. Okay, on the server, and I'll say fetch and merge. I'll say commit changes. Now we have one extra file on the server. Now we have a file to fetch on the server, which is not available in my local. If you say ls-l, that file is not there. Only resume.txt and website directory is there, right? Now we have to get it, fetch and merge. So we'll do that. So I'll say git fetch. Okay, so where it will go? Let me go back to our diagram. Why is it not showing the diagram? Strange. Share the diagram. Where is my diagram? There is no refresh button or something. Come on, this is not my diagram. So we lost the diagram. But basically what I'm trying to say that you will bring first in the remote section and then you will bring it to the directory. Okay, let's go and see that. Okay, so I'll say fetch and then I'll give something. Okay, so what it says, it is important to understand that it says that there is a delta of 1. That means one file is not matching with my local machine. Okay, now what is the next section I will do? So from that master, it has brought to the remote area. Now what we will do? We will merge it. So I'll say git. On which branch I am? Git branch. I'm on the correct branch. Yes, I'm on the master branch. I will say git. Then what? Merge. And then origin master. So from origin master, it will put that file into master. Ready, steady, go. 1, 2, and 3. How many files we have? You see the +1 here, and you got the file to fetch from the server. Now, if I say ls-l, now you see that we got the new file available here. We got that file from the server to the remote and from remote to my branch. Now, this is we saw in the 2 steps. What is that? Fetch and merge. Now, let's go in the single step. Let's see that file in the single step. So, let's go and create one more file here. I will say, hey, go on the server, create one more file to pull. I'll say create file to pull. Okay. say file to pull. I'll go with that. Commit changes. Now new file is available on the server. Now here are two files, file to fetch and file to pull. But here we have only one file, which is file to fetch. Now we will use the pull method. So it will directly get the file here, but with the two step. In the background, it will again run the same thing, fetch and merge. In the background, what it will do? It will do the same thing, fetch and merge. Let's go with that. Get. Ready, steady, go. 1, 2, and 3. Give the password. Done. Now you see that one file is there, +1. File to pull is now downloaded. So it has did two things. First it did the fetch and then it did the merge. Same thing. You see here, now we have two files. File to pull is also now available. Okay, now you say, Sunil, both methods are same. Which method we should use? So in your initial days, first 6th month, you will use the fetch and merge, because you want to have more control on your code and you want to understand how things works. Once you're comfortable with that, then you can do the pull method, no problem. So I'll request go for the first fetch and merge. This clear? Even though they look same, but on the fetch and merge you have more control. On the pull you have very less control. Okay, so go with the fetch and merge. Good. Now we saw, yes please. Pardon? Why do we show the delta pool? Because already we downloaded the file. Now there is no difference. Then we created new file, which is only one new file is there. That's why it says delta 1. Yes or no? So if we have not pulled at both the files at the same time, then it should say two changes are there. But first we already downloaded the first file. Then it will not show that, because already it is matching. Already it is matching. Second time is downloaded only one file, which was not matching, which is the file to pull. Okay, good. So hopefully you got some idea. Okay, now let's do the collaboration. Let's do some collaboration. That means I want to go with the user 02, which is going to do the cloning, which is do the ready, steady, go. Can we do? So what we need to do? We need to create the user in the Git server. So let's go to the first Git server. Let's go to the administration section and let's add the new user. We will say user 02. I'll give some password and I'll put something user 02. Okay, mail ID, I'll put something there. And I will create a normal user. Now I will not create a admin user. I'll say normal user. No, you are normal user. You should not go with the further things. Okay, good. So I have created a normal user. You see that it is a normal now. Cool. So we created the user. Let's go back to our project. So how to go to the project? You have to say, click on Git bucket name, and you will see all the project name. Currently we have only one project, which is a DevOps 14. I'll click on that. Okay, so we have this project now. On the face value, we have 4 files here. On the website, we have one more file there. Okay. Now let's go to the client side. Let's assume that you are logging as a user 02. So what I will do, I will say, hey, create a user, sudo user add user 02. And do that. Oh, user 02 already exists, no problem. So I'll switch to the user 02. Okay. Now who am I? User 02. So I'm totally separate user. And if I see his home directory, only 3 files are there, bash, logout. These are all default files. We don't care about that. So what is our project? DevOps patch 14. Do you see that file or folder here? So what we will do now, we will bring that whole thing to down. But now, as we created the user, we know the project, but did we give the access to the user to this project? No. So let's go and give that. So we'll give the access. I will say go to the settings Then go to the collaborators and add the user here. I'll say user 02. And then I'll say add. Now, interesting thing will happen. You have three options here. You say you can make the user as an admin for this particular project. You can say as this user as a developer user, or you can say this is the guest user. Now I'll say this is admin user. No problem. We can go with that. And I'll say apply. So that means now user is added as an admin user in that. Later on, you can change the permission. You click on that, it will change the permission. So now the user is able access to these files. Now, what is my project URL? This is my project URL. So I'll click on that. I'll copy to the clipboard. I'll go to the client. And what I'll say? Git clone. And then I'll give the URL. But what is the username? User. So I'll put the user. Ready, steady, go. So what it should do? So it will try to connect to the server and it will download the project, entire project, each and every file exactly same, 1, 2, and 3. Now it says, hey, you are cloning these things and please give the user 02 password. So I'll give that. Ready, steady, go. 1, 2, 3. Yes. Counting 65 objects, finding blah, 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 getting size, compressing object, these, that, unpacking, blah. Got all the stuff. Ready, steady, go. Now let's say and see that. Now which directory you see? So we should go there and see that. Do we have all the files? Yes, we have all the files. So let's have an LA. Yes, all the files. File to full, file to fetch. Every file is coming here. Every file is coming here. So this is clear. So this is what is the cloning. Now, interesting thing, let's go and see. If I say git remote, did I set any remote here in this user 02? But let's go and see what has happened. You see that? So when you do the cloning, it will also set the remote for the user. It will set up all the areas, local directory, staging area, local repository, and remote. It will configure everything for the user. So first time it is little bit, you have to configure. From second user onwards, no pain. Everything is smooth. Everything is smooth. This clear? So we are going with that. Okay, now add some one file here. What do you say? vi user02 file.html. Okay, this is a file from user02 on the repository. I can give anything. Now, what is the method to go with that? Git add, then user02 file, git commit -m added user02 file. Now, what it says, you see that? It says, hey, you're missing with the global configuration. There is no identification for the user. So what do you need to do? You need to set the configuration. So git config global user name. What is the username? User02. User02. And what is the email? Global user.email user02@mycompany.com. Done. That is fine. So I'll say git commit. So now it is committed successfully. Now if I say git status, okay, now it says okay. Now I'll say git push, the new origin master. So push to the server master branch. Pardon? U means keep a track of whatever you are uploading. So if you are not using the U, it will not keep a track. It will just throw it away. But it says synchronize. Okay. So I'll say user02. I'll give the password and then it's go. Now we have the file on the server, the push. Let's go and see that. How many files we have? 4 files. Let's refresh. How many files are now? 5 files. Okay. Now I will log out from that user. We have done with that. We have uploaded. Now there is extra file on the server. Now who am I? I am now DevOps user. Now let's try to push some file here. I'll create new file. I'll say sixth file dot text. I'll say this is a new file to be pushed on server. I'll say git add sixth file, and I'll say git add commit F1M added sixth file. Now I'll say git push F1U origin master. Ready, steady, go. Now interesting thing will happen. Let's see that. If I go with that, here it has something. What it says? It has said that it has rejected your push. Interesting thing happened. We created 6 files. 5 files are already there, right? So what happened? Why it has rejected? So in real time, if something is already more than whatever your local repository, it will not allow you to push. So at first you have to do the fetch and merge. Then only you can upload the file. This is clear? So even 100 people are pushing simultaneously, it will not work. Only first user will able to upload. Other has to fetch and merge and then upload. Any one user will get first preference. In milliseconds, microseconds, we don't know. But who will get the first preference? Will get the first preference. But other user has to do what? Fetch and merge. Without that, they cannot upload the file. This is clear? So anything is updated on the server because you have to synchronize with your server. So anything updated with your server, first you have to get that update here. Then you can push your updates. This is clear? Let's go git fetch. Oh, I have not given the password. Git fetch. Okay, and git merge. Oh, sorry, I did that. Something is happening. Remote branch tracking. Something is missing. Okay, give me some second. What is that? Made by the recursive strategy. Okay, fine, no problem. So it has did that. I'll say git ls. So how many files are now? We got the new file. Which file is expected? Yeah, so user02 file is now on the server. Where is mine? So user02 file is on the right. So first you have to fetch, and then what do you have to do? Push. Let's say git push to origin master. Now it is allowing you to go there. Now the 6th file should be available here. So currently the 6th is not there. I'll refresh it. And yes, now the 6th file is available. So this is clear. So this is all about is the git. Okay, and now in real time, when you go to the office in the morning, 9 o'clock, what do you do? Fetch and merge. First thing is you have to do fetch and merge. Then you upload anything, whatever you want. After coming by lunch, what you will do? Fetch and merge. And before leaving your office, what you will do? Fetch and merge. That is what we are doing, right? So you are going with the fetch and merge. Synchronization means it will override your things. You don't want to override your things. Right? See, you have something and there is something additional. If you synchronize, what will happen? It will override the current thing. I don't want to override my code. My code is also important. So synchronization is not a right option there. Only you have to go either with the pull or git a fetch and merge. This is the only way that you should go with that. Anytime when you are going when working in office, do the fetch and merge. Okay, any questions from class or offline or online? So hopefully we try to understand the aspects. Now it is time to practice your things, right? So create the server, try to do that practice and so on. Okay. So anything is there, we will able to work with that. So ready, steady, go. So we'll stop here now. Okay, so no questions from online. Okay, that's fine. So today we will stop here. Okay, and this is the last topic in the Git, that how to collaborate and work with the users and stuff. So this is the more than sufficient for you to work in real time, that how to get the files on the local stuff, how to go with the other things, right? And then we'll talk about the branching, and then we'll also talk about the collaboration with multi-users, how we'll go with that. Okay, so in real time you will follow these same practices. Okay, so I'll say practice this first, and if you have any questions or something, we will address those questions there. Okay, so thanks for all your time. See you tomorrow, and we'll start a new topic. The topic is shell scripting. Okay, so tomorrow we are going to start with the shell scripting. So please do not miss those sessions, because those are all important things we are going to cover. Thank you. Take care. Have a nice time. Bye-bye.